So even in a world that is living in lack of safety, we can live safely
Mhm.
individually, and we can have enormous impact on helping the world get beyond its survival programming. Our inner resonances or frequencies radiate and create our outer reality. And right now, more than ever on the planet, our new future is calling us.
Yes, Annemieka, thank you for joining me today.
Hi, Lieke. Thank you. Yeah, you're so welcome.
Yeah,
And
today
also,
we will.
thank you for doing this in English
Yeah,
because
yeah, sure, of
I wish
course.
I spoke Dutch, but thank you for doing it in English.
So today we will talk about how to create your own safe reality. And yeah, maybe the first question should be, is it even possible to feel safe when you're living on Earth in these times?
Mm, it's a really, really important question and a good one. So it's during these times where the old world, the old paradigm is breaking down, it's very easy to feel frightened because there's so much turbulence, so much turmoil. Everything is going crazy, right? As the old order is breaking apart. And it's very easy to get caught in the fear about all of that because it looks very scary. There's a lot of turbulence, a lot of violence, a lot of hatred that's being unleashed. And what's important to understand is that that happens when the end of an era is happening, when the end of a paradigm gets created, then it maintains, and then it breaks down. And we're living in the decay of the survival paradigm. A paradigm is a whole set of beliefs, a whole way of feeling, being, acting, uh, experiencing, seeing. So, and we've all bought into the paradigm on the planet right now. The dominant paradigm is that we are in survival. A survival is a way of being, and it's a perspective, a perception. When you get beyond that, everything looks and feels different. In survival, we think we have to work hard to be safe, work hard to make money, work hard to be of value, to prove ourselves. But when we're truly aligned with our true core essence, our energy, our true effortlessness, when we're truly in safety, truly in a different paradigm, it all becomes a very magical, miraculous, synchronistic way of living where there's a deep flow that occurs that allows life to happen for us rather than us trying so hard to make life happen.
Would you say we're not longer in survival anymore?
The energies that are beyond survival are available to us now, so that we are not really in survival. When we are connecting to those energies, we experience the truth that we are not in survival.
So it
If
is
we are,
possible to feel safe and to feel not the survival mode anymore.
it is completely possible, it's doable, it can be learned, it takes repetition, it takes practice, and yet it is completely possible to live far beyond survival to where the abundance and the beauty and grace of life is just there. It's available.
Mhm.
Healing happens, health happens, different state of being, abundance happens. Mhm.
I think a lot of people, when they look at the outer world, they say, well, there's climate change, there's war. How can you say that we're not longer in survival?
Yeah, most people on the planet are still living in survival. That's true. Most people are. And what you're describing, Lika, the stuff you're seeing in the external world is the result of a survival paradigm. It comes from a fight, from kill or be killed. It comes from a hierarchy where we're not loving each other compassionately, where we're not connecting with our own inner source and with the divine light in each other, where we're not connecting, we're fighting with each other, saying that there's a limited amount of resource. So when we come from that perspective, the outer reality looks and is very unsafe. It becomes very dangerous because that is a damaging way to live. But when, on a personal level, we go to our inner place, we go inside instead of outside, instead of looking for safety out there, when we bring our energy inside and are willing to slow down enough internally and really get aware, we bring the tools of self awareness. We can breathe slower and deeper. We get aware and we connect. We feel. We feel our own internal process, our own internal energy. When we do that, something starts to change right away, and we get past the survival program, the hard wiring, and we change the program. We change into our natural state, which is a state of love and safety and connectedness. When we connect, our whole body starts to change frequency, and we end up living from a completely different frequency than before.
And does
And
that
it's
also change the outer world?
and that then changes our outer reality. Because in the quantum field or in quantum physics, the way that energy works is that our inner resonances or frequencies radiate and create our outer reality. In the survival way of thinking, our outer reality is an objective thing out there that we need to control and predict and figure out and know about and do something with it to become safe. But in our inner energy, when we go deep enough inside and connect, the resonances, the frequencies from there radiate and effortlessly create an outer reality in which we are safe. So even in a world that is living in lack of safety, we can live safely
Mhm.
individually, and we can have enormous impact on helping the world get beyond its survival programming to live from love, safety, connection, mutual support, compassion from heart. We can get there.
Mhm.
Yes.
So even since I brought up the climate change, even that huge issue, we can have an
Yeah.
impact on it by going deeper into ourselves.
Yes. Yes. We can have a huge, beautiful impact on changing the world by changing ourselves. Because when we change, we our reality changes, our outer reality changes when we change internally. And how do we change? By moving beyond our survival paradigm, because in that paradigm of emergency, we perceive ourselves as separate from the world. But in fact, we're not. We're part of a field. We're part of a quantum field of love, of safety, so that when we experience ourselves as connected and full of safety internally and full of love, because we are connected, in fact, we have impact and influence on that quantum field that everybody at some level is connected to. So we have enormous impact just from our own internal changes.
Mhm. And I think the first habit of people when they see something in the outside world that is scary, our first habit is I have to do something about it and then go into action mode or whatever.
Yes, yes, that is the first impulse. And what happens is that when we just jump into action without slowing down and connecting first to a new place in ourselves. We're taking action from the old energies or the old programs that didn't work in the first place. So we're starting to solve a problem from with tools or solutions that actually won't solve the problem.
Mhm.
So the first thing always is to come deeper inside and slow down. Take a few extra breaths. Get more still so that we can open and allow for more internal space, which opens us to a new frequency. It opens us to connect with deeper levels of possibility, deeper solutions, something that's creative and innovative, which can bring new solutions to climate change or whatever it is. It brings new solutions, yes.
Mhm. Now, maybe a lot of people think, how long will it take? How should I go an hour a day uh, for
Mhm.
meditation or 2 hours a day? How long?
Well, interestingly, once we get past our resistance to not just jumping into panicked action, but actually coming inside and slowing down, we discover how delicious that is. And it's so delicious that we start to feel like, wait, I get to connect with myself first. I want to take the time to do that because it feels so good. And it stops being, oh, I have to connect and I have to meditate or I have to do this practice or I have to change. It just becomes, wow, I get to. It feels so good. It's, oh, I can't wait to get more still. And sometimes we get more still with our eyes closed. We breathe and we connect. And then we can also practice that with our eyes open, that we can walk around in our daily life with our eyes open in a state of such deep safety and connectedness that people start to notice, oh, you look so beautiful, you look so radiant. What is your secret? What are you doing? How do you stay so calm in the middle of, in the middle of all of
Yeah.
this?
And what do you
That's
say to those people?
that I am calm. You
Yeah.
say a lot of practice is what you say.
Mhm.
A lot of practice. And it's never perfect because we keep going deeper and deeper. We don't get to one place that finally I'm enlightened and I'm finished. Okay. The state of wholeness and the state of further integrating and enlightening is an ongoing process that goes on for our whole lives. And what I found is that I spend more and more time consciously aware of where my energies are. Am I in panic? Am I in a survival paradigm? Am I in that part of me that wants to go into control and make this work? Or am I allowing? Am I flowing with safety? Am I flowing easily, gracefully? Okay. And we have both experiences available to us. So the real challenge is to include all of it. They're both there. We have a survival emergency system in us if we need it. However, it's not fun to live from that. It's much more fun to live from safety, innovation, new possibility, creativity, right? It's much more fun. So when we include both, they're both there. And in including and accepting that both are there, we end up at choice. We end up, oh, I have the choice right now to come from safety. I don't have to stay in my anxiety. Now, in the beginning of learning how to slow down and connect, it doesn't feel like we have a choice. Anxiety feels like it takes over, and I'm caught in the grips of it, and there's nothing I can do. But it's like breaking an addiction, where in the beginning of breaking any addiction, it feels like the addiction has such a strong pull. Oh, I want that substance that I just gave up. I want to keep doing that habit that I just stopped. There's an intense pull to keep doing it. But gradually over time, we start to feel freer without that substance, for example. We get sober. We start to feel alive and better and healthier without it. And the pull isn't as strong over time. We can be addicted to any way of being. And anxiety is a way of being where we aren't allowing the flow of our healthy energy to be present. Instead, we're in an emergency state of survival. And we can be addicted to the beliefs of lack of safety that create anxiety. So the beliefs are what becomes so addictive.
And I think
So
for a lot of people, it feels scary to go deeper within because when we do, our mind, yeah, goes crazy. So all the anxiety comes up again.
it does because the mind is afraid of the unknown. When you're in an emergency, you can't afford to have something unknown. Everything has to be controlled and known. Like, where is the tiger? Which tree is it behind? If I can predict where that tiger is coming from, then I can stay safe. If I can know. So everything gets hyper focused and controlling. And the more tight and controlling I get, the more anxiety I create. Okay? The more afraid I become, and it escalates and spirals instead of calms down. It goes, we go more and more into more anxiety and more fear instead of less.
Mhm.
Okay?
So how do you prevent that when you want to go deeper, but the anxiety comes up in your head? What do you do?
You don't prevent it from coming, you just know, you notice that it's happening, you include it, but you name it like, oh, there it is. Once you start to name it for what it is, oh, that's my emergency button got pushed. That's my survival program. As soon as you name it, we immediately start to get a little detached from it in a good way. We start to have some space where we can remember, oh, that's a program that's not the whole of me. It's not who I am. It's just a program that I have, that by habit I keep going to. And I can see, oh, I went there again, and I can forgive myself. And I can accept that that habit is in me, but it's not the whole of me. It's not who I am. It's a habit I have to go there.
Mhm.
And as soon as we start to make that distinction and include it, it's a habit, I can forgive myself, I can accept that it's part of me, but it's not the whole of me. As soon as I go there, everything starts to slow down and open up and connect with who I am inside. My safety. I am safe. It doesn't help to do mantras in the head. I am safe, I am safe, I am safe. That doesn't work because we haven't changed the frequency. When we slow down and go into a different frequency where we actually experience ourselves as safe, then our life gets created from that frequency. So the new habit becomes, let me take a moment and take a breath. Let me go deep inside and breathe and slow down, right? And allow for something new and different. Allow for a deeper part of me to emerge.
So the detachment from the stories is a really vital part to feel safe.
Yes. To begin to recognize when you are in stories, and then the detachment from it, just like you said, the detachment from it is vital to recognize, oh, I'm in a story, I'm in anxiety. When you don't feel good, you're in something. When you don't feel right in yourself, when you don't feel whole and peaceful and full of joy and full of love and full of authentic emotion that moves, when you're not there, you're in a story, you're in a survival program. You can
Mm.
be sure of it. And the more that you start to get aware of those programs, the more that you can detach from them and start to find another place in yourself that's deeper. That's full of love, that's safe, that's coherent. Your energy becomes coherent. Then there's healing, there's regeneration, there's joy, there's possibility.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, and that's also the shift to the new paradigm?
That's the new paradigm.
Mm.
Yes. Yeah, and then what happens is you live beyond the old paradigm. The survival emergency paradigm is inside of you, it's there if you need it, but you don't live from it anymore. You don't see the world. The way you start to perceive reality changes. What you see wasn't visible before from survival. Because in survival, all it looks like is that everything's getting worse. The world is getting worse. It's getting more dangerous, more terrible. And certainly the violence and all of that is coming out. But from the new paradigm, you can see, that's part of the healing. That's having it become visible. It's coming out. Like if you have a tumor and you cut the tumor and you let the stuff come out, it looks terrible. It smells bad. It looks disgusting. But it's part of the healing, isn't it?
Mm.
To let the old junk, the toxicity come out is part of the healing because we can't heal and grow beyond something until we're aware that it's there. We have to see it and become consciously aware, or we can stay in denial. But if we're in denial, then we're living in the toxicity without being aware of it.
Mm.
So, in the world right now, even though it looks uglier and more violent, more dangerous than ever, and in a certain way, it is because it's all exploding. All of that is coming out, but it's part of change. It's part of the healing so that we can see, wow, when I'm in that place of hating my neighbors and hating people and doing all of that, I'm creating violence in my own body. I'm creating illness. I'm creating a life and a world that doesn't work. I am part of this world, and whatever I see in the world, maybe I personally am not running around, killing people, but I personally am doing damage to myself when I'm in a frequency of anxiety and depression and just stay there. I'm actually making myself sick. And I know because I personally was on the verge of death, I made myself so ill
Mm.
that I couldn't get out of bed for years. I was so sick.
Was that
So
from anxiety you had?
yeah, from so much stress, so much tension, so much survival panic that I
Mm.
made myself sick. Yeah. And then I got to learn how to get beyond that. But in that state, I had like 10 viruses, chronic fatigue, I mean, all kinds of stuff that I couldn't move. My whole endocrine system broke down and I had no health left. And it took me time to rebuild, to come through that, to realize what I was doing to myself. It
Mhm.
wasn't the world making me sick. I can say, oh, it's those toxic relationships that were making me sick, but it was me making me sick
Mm.
and attracting those kinds of relationships, which then drop away and you end up with very loving relationships.
Yeah.
When you realize, when you change internally, it changes your outer reality.
Mm.
Mhm. So
Okay.
we don't need to control our outer life. We get to go inward and really, really change into a new state of being that is beyond survival, beyond emergency, that's full of abundance and hope. And right now, more than ever on the planet, our new future is calling us. A future of hope is actually calling us.
Mm. What do you mean by that? Mm.
It means that the energy of hope is available to feel, the energy of safety is available to embody and to feel. And it's inviting us. Evolution is inviting us to go there. Evolution is inviting us to step beyond survival, to step into a new place inside that creates a whole new world.
A
It's
whole new, safe, beautiful world. Mm.
exactly, yes, yes. It's where evolution is inviting us to go. Mhm.
Mm. Sounds beautiful. Thank you so much for this conversation.
Aw, thank you, Lika. Thank you so much.